is Jillian Hall, and you are watching Rope Break.
You're watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and this time riding solo is your host Juanso. How's every single one of you, Rope Break family? Time to talk about Monday Night Raw, a show that, like always on Mondays, knows how to give us a great start for the week. And I'm being pretty ironic with it, but we're gonna be dissecting everything. The show this week was like as bad as the other shows, but we didn't get to see like really stupid promos or really stupid storytelling. I will say, in when it comes to that matter, but we're going to be talking about everything. So thank you to every single one of you for watching the show. Thank you for the subscriptions, for the views, comments, everything that you do for the channel. Don't forget, we're like on every single social media platform. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. We're right there, family. So please help us out just subscribing, like always, like support us in every single thing that we do. And don't forget like to check our newest video right here. We have on Saturday, Jean Paul and myself, we went actually to the Legends of Hamburg, an event that took place in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, and it was like a great event. We got to see meet and greets from like legends like Jimmy Hart. We got to see Chris Van Vliet, and also like Jillian Hall, like you guys can see at the beginning of the video. Also Godfather, Doing the Clown, Marty Jannetty, all of them, and also like current like the Impact starts like Heath Slater. We got to see also Rhino. So please check the video out. We had like also like highlights of the show. So a big shout out to Ryan Box. He's like the CEO of like Outbreak Wrestling, and also like Tyler Rush, one of like our friends of the house, like rising stars of that company. So please check that video out. Don't forget that. So Monday Night Raw family actually started out with the newest Raw Women's Champion, and that's Nikki a.s.h. Nikki a.s.h, like you could call it like that. And she was just really excited. She opened the show, and that was a really cool opening for me. She's been like a lot of people is behind her, so that's really important. She said that was her dream to be like the Raw Women's Champion. Saying that there was a lot of crowd chants like she deserves it, and she said that like she's gonna try to make us believe that like you can overcome anything, you can push yourself. It doesn't matter what obstacles you had in life, and you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. So you can see like the reaction when the crowd was actually really behind Nikki a.s.h. So that was really cool. Like I think that like as a baby face, like there's a lot of people that are behind her, and like I said before in one of the shows, like there's a lot of marketing circumstances for like this decision. So like there can be a lot of merchandise made by her, a lot of also like alliances with like No Kid Go Hungry foundations, a lot of like charity places they can go behind like Nikki a.s.h. So that's why they did this. And Charlotte Flair of course will have to interrupt the promo, and then she says that was a fluke, and it's like she doesn't believe a single thing that like Nikki a.s.h is saying. It's like it's really cool that like you're doing that, but nobody really believes in this. It's like not because you put a mask I'm gonna believe that you're better than me or you're gonna beat me. So like that was kind of like the narrative of this promo. She just kept saying that like she just want a rematch, and then she wants her title back because she said I wasn't even like up on my feet when you actually challenged for the title when you cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase, but that's what we got. And also Rhea Ripley intervened, and then she said that she also wants an opportunity for the Raw Women's Championship because she thinks that she deserves to be the champion now, because Charlotte like it only was like the champion for one day, so like she needs to be the one representing Monday Night Raw and the brand. So that's why like they kept going words. You know how like this show is at the beginning of every segment, especially at the beginning of the main show. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville will later come out, and then they will say that like the main event for tonight is gonna be Nikki a.s.h against Charlotte, just to determine who the best woman is. And for what it comes to SummerSlam, there we're gonna see actually a triple threat involving all these three women. And I feel that the idea is okay, and they're doing that because again Nikki a.s.h is on fire, and Rhea Ripley is actually really over as a babyface now that like they're actually back on the road, and they need a heel because they're not gonna do a babyface Nikki a.s.h and also a babyface Rhea Ripley. That's why they include Charlotte, because she's gonna be playing the heel in this situation. So hopefully in this I like the idea, just because all these three women are representing the brand. There's nobody else built when it comes to like this women's division, so that's why it makes a lot of sense that like they will put this in a triple threat. You're not going to exclude Charlotte out of this. No, you're not going to exclude Rhea. So that's why, and you want to keep going with this initiative of Nikki a.s.h as the champion. So I'm okay with the idea. I don't mind it as much, but this is what we're going to have. And like I said, main event, Charlotte and Nikki a.s.h to determine who the best woman is, family. So the next we go over like the next promo of the night, and that's Damian Priest. She just pretty much says that like Sheamus doesn't deserve to be the United States champion. He is just a coward. He doesn't like to defend the championship. He puts all excuses in the book just because he doesn't want to defend the title. So he says that tonight he's going to prove like that he's better than him. He's going to like expose push Sheamus because they're gonna have a match. Is like if he wins, then he's gonna be the #1 contender for the United States Championship. So it seems to me that like the new way of WWE to determine who's gonna challenge the champion is that you gotta face the champion, and then if you beat him, then you become the #1 contender, which makes absolutely no sense because it should be two guys that want to become champions, and then you face your champion. Because like, why do I want to see the same match one more time? Why do I need to see the same match twice? Why do I need to see interactions between the same wrestlers twice? It doesn't make a lot of sense for me. I don't know why they like try to avoid at all costs like to have two wrestlers fighting in a match that it states #1 contender. I really don't understand that idea. But Damian Priest is going to be challenging Sheamus, and this match was actually one of the best matches of the night. You know, really intense. There's a lot of violence, a lot of like interactions between the two that like made us believe that this feud is going to be really credible. So I like that. You know, like also like Damian Priest took out the match of Sheamus. That will actually play a factor in the outcome of the match. And also you see like this big chokeslam from like Damian Priest. He's like also really intense, and you know that like as a babyface or heel, he's playing it really cool. Especially NXT was more like a heel character, but like not a completely heel, but more like a cool heel. And now he's just a babyface for everything that he did with Bad Bunny. At the end, you know, we had to see the reckoning, you know, the finisher that Damian Priest has after a good like sequence, like exchanging punches and then distracting a little bit Sheamus, Inzaguri, and then the reckoning, like I said, the finisher, and then Damian Priest like wins. And for now, I'm assuming that he's the #1 contender for the United States Championship. So good for Damian Priest, good for like Sheamus. It's gonna be a good match at SummerSlam. I'm thinking that we're gonna see a brand new United States champion in Damian Priest because like they have a lot of faith in him. Everything that we did with Bad Bunny, he's being praised backstage, and also like it's just because he had a minor injury that he had to take a few days out, and that's why we didn't see him currently after like when he and Bad Bunny beat The Miz and John Morrison. So that's what I'm thinking, that right now is the moment for Priest. They're gonna push him, and like he could actually be like a main event player on Monday Night Raw, you know, because like he has the workload, he has like the look, he has also like the ability on the mic. So this is a pretty good stuff for Damian Priest. Now let's go to a match that like didn't make sense last week. It doesn't make sense this week, and that's the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Is a completely rematch that we see last week, and that's the Viking Raiders challenging one more time AJ and Omos. And if you want to see the Viking Raiders more buried like that you see here last week, then you gotta check out this week because the outcome was absolutely the same. You know, we didn't see any changes, same match. You know, Ivar and Eric are pretty good wrestlers. Omos is getting much better as the weeks go by, so that's cool for Omos because like he needs more match. He needs in-ring time. You know, like every single week he needs matches and matches and matches, and that's cool that WWE is actually going to house shows now. He needs that experience. He needs that level of exposure so he can get better in the ring because like the height calls for it, and like he's been training with Kevin Nash. I don't know if that's help or, you know, disadvantage at this point, but the main thing is like we got to see a pretty decent match between these, you know, two teams. But we saw it last week, and especially when the outcome is the same, why do I want to see it again? You know, Omos dominates also, and we got to see just AJ Styles doing a 450 splash. That was a really cool, and also like, you know, he did like the phenomenal forearm. AJ is trying to help out to get Omos over, so like they kept the titles on them, and that's fine. It makes sense. You know, they're a pretty interesting team. You know, Omos, once he gets more improved in the ring, once he gets more, you know, decent in the ring, I think it's going to be a really dominant team, and that's what they're trying to do with this situation. And now unfortunately the Viking Raiders, they're going to be just pushed aside because like in 2 consecutive weeks they have lost to like AJ Styles and Omos. So disappointing for them, but like, and also for me, like the outcome. When you present me the same outcome 2 weeks in a row, I'm not invested in any of these feuds, but good for AJ and Omos. Moving forward, family, we're gonna hear later on from the champion, the WWE champion Bobby Lashley, and like he's gonna have an answer for Bill Goldberg. You remember last week he came out, he challenged him, he said I'll next for the championship at SummerSlam, because he's gonna be challenging. So we want to hear from Bobby Lashley, but that's gonna be in just a little bit. Before that, we got to hear from Jinder Mahal. He comes out with like beer, and also he has also like a new lawyer, a new representative. He's gonna be the one that is gonna taking care of like Drew McIntyre, because like he feels that like he's just been too dangerous. Jinder, he says that like he's been offended by the actions of Drew McIntyre, especially what he did to Shanky, especially all those 20 chair shots that he did. So he says that like he's a dangerous man, so he's not gonna be dealing with that. So he presents like, you know, this new lawyer that's gonna be taking care of like all the situations. But like it was just a match between like Beer and Drew McIntyre that turns out to be like a really quick match, which is a no disqualification because there was interference by Jinder Mahal, and you know, Drew McIntyre picks up the win. is like, you know, they're gonna have the match at SummerSlam. It's fine. You need Drew like to be away from the main event scene. We've seen way too many matches with Drew with the title, so that way at least you give him something to do. It's not gonna be memorable, but it's, hey, they're two best friends right here, Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. They know each other from the 3MB days, so you know it's fine. We just saw hits later at like Legends of Hamburg, so that's fine. We got to see one of them. It's cool, and like I said, Drew McIntyre also like did a Claymore kick into like the lawyer from like the Jinder Mahal, so that's fine. Again, they're gonna make that match probably official next week, and that's gonna be Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam. Drew needs to be, like I said, either switch, drop it to Smackdown, or like at least have a few months just like having like mid-card matches just when he can get ready for the WWE Championship opportunity once Bobby Lashley no longer has the championship. So that was, you know, that was just like a filler for what we had in the show. Let's hear it from Eva Marie and Doudrop, just because Eva Marie says that like they're gonna have a number one contenders opportunity with the tag team for the tag team championships, and you know, again, against the champions. So another mistake. So that was like WWE seems to be liking to do these things, that like now you have to be the champion to have an opportunity against the champion. So she says that like as long as you do your part, it will be fine. So just make sure that we win. So they go out to the ring, and like I said, they're going to be facing Tamina and Natalya, and the match was actually pretty nice when it comes to like Doudrop or Piper Niven. Piper Niven is just putting like great performances week in, week out, and the only thing though, like when she did like the crossbody that she does, like thing that she ended up injuring Natalya, so we don't know like the gravity or severity of the injury. We hope that it's actually something minor, but after that she was taken out of the match. Tamina really filled in for her, but you know, the main thing of the match is like we got to see another more insight of like the feud that she's having, like Lily's having with Eva Marie. So you can tell that like the writers, when it comes to this part of the show, they're not really sure what to do with both of them. The evolution is not working out. Nobody's behind that. I'm more behind Piper Niven just because she's a great wrestler, and we follow her from NXT UK. She deserves a good opportunity, so hopefully when they drop this, she actually becomes in to do something better. But like we got to see Lily just emulating like the same kind of stuff that like Eva Marie did in the promo war for what it was to the evolution. So Lily just like in the voice of Alexa Bliss, she was just doing the exact same thing. So that was like, you know, kind of mocking her like a parody, and that distraction will allow Tamina to hit a super kick on Eva Marie, 1, 2, 3, and they get the win. But like I said, like something happened with Natalya. I think it was in the crossbody. Maybe Piper Niven didn't land when it were supposed to land, and ended up hitting like the leg because she was limping, and that's why like Tamina right away she rolled out of the ring, and then she picked up Natalya from the other side, and then one of the, you see the trainers or the doctors was you know, carrying her from the other side. So it was like, we're gonna give you more insight tomorrow when we do NXT about the injury and the status of Natalya. But it's unfortunate for her because now if she's no longer ready, if she's injured, then they're gonna drop those belts. So that's actually a little sad for Natalya, but hopefully the status of the injury is not as bad and it's something minor that she can actually maybe rest for 1 or 2 weeks and then be back in the ring. Moving on, family, it's time to talk about another match that actually main evented NXT TakeOver like a few months ago. That was a great build up. You know, it was actually a great match. It was actually two guys that like gave us a really great show. I will not forget like the type of promos that they gave us, like the video package that they gave us with Metallica on, also Mad in the Flame, also Frantic from the album Saint Anger. So that's Kid Lee and Karrion Kross. There was a reported like before like the show went on air that like there was not going to be NXT talent involved into this show, but like we got to see Karrion Kross. Why? Because they needed to do something with him. They needed to give him a win because everybody, a lot of backlash with what happened with Jeff Hardy last week, and also like they were actually going to have a rematch with Jeff Hardy, but what happened? He actually tested positive for COVID-19, so that was like the main thing that like they had to scratch that, they have to nix it, and then they gave us like Kid Lee instead of Jeff Hardy. So in this match, actually, you know, really good interactions between him and Karrion Kross. Very similar match to what we saw in TakeOver, and the outcome actually buries Kid Lee even more. I don't know what Kid Lee did. I don't know like the status. Like I don't know what happened backstage behind the scenes that we didn't see or now we haven't heard of. Because just Kid Lee comes back with against Bobby Lashley last week, loses. Now Karrion Kross loses in a very clean way, straight. And Saito suplexes, you know, and then like the straight jacket, and it's not choking him out. And then actually Kid Lee passed out. So Karrion Kross is able to pick up a win, which is important because, like I said, his character was really damaged. One was what happened, like the outcome that we saw with Jeff Hardy, and like actually they had to refilm his entrance on NXT twice because like the amount of boos or the amount of like Jeff Hardy chants that they had in that particular film and taping, because let me tell you, the show that we're going to see tomorrow in NXT is actually taped. Like, they taped it up for 2 weeks just because of the Olympics. They're going to have like actually broadcasting the Olympics on the USA Network, so the show is going to be actually on Sci-Fi. So for the ones that are wondering what channel is that going to be on, is on Sci-Fi Family. But like I said, they had to redo that because Karrion Kross got a lot of backlash, a lot of superstars frustrated because of the outcome with Jeff Hardy. But in this situation, he picks up the win, and Keith Lee more buried than ever. Like, I don't know what he did. I'm hoping that they actually going to repackage him. He deserves better, but you know, we don't know what they're going to do with when it comes to Keith Lee. But Karrion Kross at least picks up the win. No Scarlett. The entrance doesn't feel the same without her. He doesn't feel the same also. So we'll see what they do with Karrion Kross, but like, it's not promising at all, family. And you get to see a backstage promo, and that's Nikki A.s.h. talking about how he's ready for this match with Charlotte, excited, she's gonna take care of her. And then Rhea Ripley shows up, and she says that like what happens on SummerSlam, the outcome is gonna be she's gonna take that title away from her. But for when it comes to tonight, she's actually hoping that she kicks Charlotte's ass. I'm hoping that you actually can beat her, and that will be good for you and for our championship match at SummerSlam. Let's go with the tag match, family, and this is Mansoor and Mustafa Ali, and then they're gonna go against T-Bar and Mace. And this one is, remember, like last week, Mansoor and Mustafa Ali, they were pair up, they're gonna be a tag team. So Ali just tells him, hey, as long as you follow my lead, we're cool, man. Just follow my lead, just follow my direction. I'm gonna lead you to great things. And for us, for this week, we're gonna be attacked. Don't worry, maybe later on, who knows. But actually, they picked up the win. You know, there was a lot of distraction. Mustafa Ali didn't actually want to fight. There was a really nice spot though. Like, it was like a DDT, a tornado DDT that going from the outside, and that was onto like Dominic Dijakovic or T-Bar. That was like a really great spot. And then Mansoor actually ended up rolling Maze out. So actually, these two guys get the win. They are actually going to become a tag team. You see, like, they're built the same. They have the same actually moveset. They're really agile. They're like really high flyers. There's going to be a good team, and they're trying to tell us a pretty interesting story. Hopefully, they do something nice for like Mustafa Ali. The guy was the leader of Retribution. He tried like to sell that group as much as he could. He did everything possible in the book, like doing social media posts, like social stories. He tried to get the group over as best as he could. Nothing ever happened because by week 2 they already dropped the situation. So hopefully this alliance with like Mansoor, this tag team that we're gonna see, actually gets them an opportunity for the tag titles. That will be interesting to see, because again, these two guys actually could be a really interesting team. So that's like, hopefully those are like the promising like stars that they have in this brand, and also the promising storylines that they have when it comes to Monday Night Raw. So it's time to hear actually from like the WWE champion Bobby Lashley. He's going to be answering Bill Goldberg. MVP just pretty much says, okay champ, what are we going to say here? Like, is it going to be a yes or no at the challenge at SummerSlam? And Bobby Lashley says, nobody respects me, nobody disrespects this ring, and the answer is going to be no. I'm not going to acknowledge like the challenge that Bill Goldberg did to me. But then we got to see interruptions by Cedric Alexander. He actually mentions like how he was kicked out of the Hurt Business, like he actually deserves an opportunity, and then he's going to show him like what is he capable of. Same thing with like Shelton Benjamin. So we got to see in the ring, we got to see a reunion of the Hurt Business, but these two guys are still hurt because of like they got kicked out of the group, and their careers went again down. They sank one more time. So Bobby Lashley said, you know what, I'm going to take both of you this tonight. So it's going to be a handicap match, and it's going to be Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander going against Bobby Lashley. But in this situation, it was what, 3 minutes, and actually more Bobby Lashley dominating both of them. He did a jackhammer onto both of them. So like that's of course signifying that he's going to accept at some point the match with Bill Goldberg. They're just going to like make, you know, the weeks go by, and then he's going to be teasing until like they actually make that official. But like I said, really dominant. You know, the champion just picks up the win. Like I said, like jackhammers and a few spears, 1, 2, 3, and we get to see the dominance, and we get to see the most powerful guy in the WWE. And when it comes to Monday Night Raw, because Roman Reigns, you know, at this point is untouchable, Bobby Lashley gets the win. So that was what we have from the champ. And now we're going to go to like a backstage segment, and this is going to be Omos talking about, like, he's actually covering the match, because you got to see AJ Styles, The Miz, and John Morrison. They're actually like strategizing, because John Morrison is going to go against Matt Riddle. So he's like, you know, say, Omos, just cover it up, because we have like some plans here. We're going to have, you know, they're on the lines right here, so they're actually going to team up, and they're going to like cause some distraction when it comes to this match, that Riddle against, like I said, John Morrison. And you see the chemistry that like both Matt Riddle and John Morrison have. So it was like really cool spots that you guys can see, like a really hard kick for like The Miz. They took him out. Then we got to see, like I said, AJ Styles and Omos coming out, causing a lot of distraction. That would allow Riddle to actually hit his offense, and then allow John Morrison to hit more of his offense, actually to get like the dominance of the match. And then another kick for The Miz, and then he was just like the funny act. He's like the comedy act. Like The Miz is like, he's not needed on TV. I've been saying that for weeks. He does not need to be on TV. He should be actually getting better from the injury, and then when he's ready to come back, then he should be back in the ring and all of that. But like they like to use him just to be like the funny part, like he won a few laps of it. I don't think it's that great, but like for me, like the match was actually pretty decent from Morrison and Riddle. But in the end, like all that distraction caused like Riddle to like just lose the match. John Morrison picks up the win, and there was actually a post-attack match, and that we got to see Omos and AJ Styles taking care of Matt Riddle. And this actually, like I thought that Randy Orton was gonna come back. I thought that was the beginning for like the Viper to just come back and reunite the RK Bros. But that doesn't have like that wasn't the case in this particular night. But I'm thinking that maybe SummerSlam could be like, or right before SummerSlam, and this could be a feud, and the titles could be involved. So I'm really thinking that they're gonna put the titles on the RK Bros, just because like this, like, and you know, everybody was thinking that like Randy Orton was gonna come back. There's like a lot of reports that he might be injured, or also like he's just taking time off, because like you know that Randy Orton years ago he was able to get a good deal with the WWE, and whenever he wants to, like he actually can take off when he feels that like he's done enough work. Then he takes a lot of like weeks off. So it's probably what he's doing, and then he's gonna come back by SummerSlam time, and then he's gonna challenge for the tag titles to AJ Styles and Omos. So like let's go to the next one. This is just like, you know, filler. Nobody cares about this. The 24/7 championship. Remember last week Reginald had become the champion, so he goes against R-Truth, and you know, just like flips against flips, a little bit of like funny acts. R-Truth is, you know, a 48th 58th like champion of like this title, and Reginald actually was able to go like avoid all of like the offense from R-Truth, and you got to see like, you know, just like in the most effective way in the WWE to like retain the championship. Like he actually rolled R-Truth out, and then he gets like a pinning combination 1, 2, 3, and we still have the same champion. Reginald is still the 24/7 title. Nobody cares about this. We got to see also like the guy, the people that runs for that title. I don't know even why you even like pay me to run for that title. That is absolute garbage. Nobody cares about this. Nobody, like a wrestling fan, a normal wrestling fan, an average wrestling fan doesn't even know that there's a 24/7 title in existence. A lot of people just think that like that's a thing from the past, but no, actually there's still people that actually call themselves champions, and they don't even acknowledge the NXT championship, and they actually give that more relevance to this title. Is really laughable. And you know, you can tell like how much like Vince McMahon in those ways doesn't even like acknowledge what he's done, or like what Triple H actually has done, because NXT has always been at least an opportunity for people to get over, but then when they come to the main roster, he actually puts them down really quickly. So family, let's go to the main event, and this is Charlotte Flair against Nikki A.s.h. And didn't she get the championship match already? So I don't understand why they put that, like the women's championship contenders match. She already has the triple threat, so I don't understand why they put that stipulation right there. But this was like a pretty quick main event, and actually like what they always like do is like the important thing is what happens after the match. In here, Charlotte completely dominated Nikki A.s.h., like hitting her like all like offense, just like took her like the control of the match from the beginning. Like then you can see like injuring like the arm, injuring like the hand, the wrist. So like Charlotte was really violent, and the moment that Nikki actually had like a little bit of more comeback, then she did the same crossbody that she did last week to win the championship. But in this situation, Charlotte ends up rolling her up, and then she picks up the win. And then you see like she starts like saying like, oh, crying and everything. Is like Charlotte shows a lot of like she's surprised. She's like, well, you thought that I wasn't gonna win? What are you talking about? It's like I'm always been the girl. It's like I'm an 11-time women's champion. It's like, and this girl is just like a fluke. It's just something that it should have never happened, and not because she just puts a mask on, she's gonna be better than me, or she's gonna be able to beat me. So she's like completely like she feels in disbelief that why the crowd didn't think that this was gonna be the outcome. So like, you know, Nikki could just ask for a rematch. So yeah, they're gonna have a rematch, and that's why this show sucks. Now that the Olympics are on, there's gonna be another record of one with the lowest viewerships on this show, and this doesn't make it any better, because the fact that like she requested another rematch for this because she feels that she's gonna beat Charlotte, she has enough confidence to like do that. It just doesn't make any sense. And then another post attack from Charlotte, looking dominant. So like you got to see how like they're gonna try to like do the build for SummerSlam. They're gonna present a really dominant Charlotte, and then you know Nikki Cross is just gonna be like the baby face that like she's gonna have the major comeback to retain the championship. Like this is a good picture actually. I like that because there was like a sign with her. Nikki has a lot of like she is getting a lot of fandom when it comes to like baby faces with kids, and that's like a Bailey. They always like, and they need that for like, you know, so like this type of audience like gets behind that. And in the end, you know, she just stands tall, and Nikki A.s.h. like she's gonna have another rough week. It seems that like the championship is in danger at SummerSlam. We know what's going to happen in SummerSlam. Becky Lynch is not going to be involved, so we'll see what happens, because just it seems like Jean-Paul was saying it's going to be actually for SmackDown. She's going to be like returning over there because Seth Rollins is in that brand. So for what we have for Monday Night Raw, it's going to be a triple threat like we mentioned before: Charlotte, Nikki, Ash, and Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. But in here, she picks up like the win, and also she stands tall to conclude the show. So family, I think that like this show was not unbearable, as unbearable as the other ones. This, if you think about it, was quick, it was to the point, and also like, you know, Nikki Ash is just gonna be like the biggest baby face. She's gonna like the comeback story. That's gonna be like the main thing that they're gonna tell us. So this is what we have for you as a show, family. Thank you one more time for being with me. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe to the page. Also, don't forget to give us a like, and also like the bell for notifications. We're always putting content. Like I said, tomorrow we have NXT, then Wednesday we have AEW Fight for the Fallen, NXT UK, Smackdown Live. We do it all, family. So please, you know, follow us in all the social media world. Also Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter, family. So I hope you have a good rest of your night. And this is Juanso, and all I can say to you is adios.